Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and in this video, we're going to be looking at FabFilter Timeless 3's modulation section. And as you can see here, it has a very, very complex modulation section. However, you can hide things very, very easily to make it look nice and neat. If you go through different presets, you'll see that this is true basically for any preset you have. So you can hide things very quickly. So you only have the delay options, such as the taps and the filter. So you're not going to overcomplicate your life if you don't want to. But if you want to do something that's more complex, you can go ahead and do so. All right. So if you guys didn't watch the first video, I recommend you guys really go watch that video because I explain in detail pretty much all the new features included in FabFilter Timeless 3. Now let's go ahead and listen to our demo here. And it's the same one as in the last video. So let me play it back for you guys who haven't watched that one yet. But again, I recommend you guys go watch that one. All right, let's go ahead and press play. I'm gonna go ahead and try to remove all these timeless 3s as the track goes along. Watch what the difference is gonna be. Basically, the track is empty, so let's reintroduce these. There you go. It's now sounding much more beautiful than when we took everything off. So basically half of this track is just Timeless 3 delaying, adding more notes, changing the pitches of the delays that we have, and also doing some cool mashup sounds with the drums. So yeah, it's a very, very important instrument for this type of ambient music. I wouldn't even go ahead and call it an effects plugin. Like I said, it's more of an instrument. So let's go back here and look at the drums from the drop. And as you heard there, towards the end of the every 4 bars, I make it so that the delay does this switching of or reversing of the instrument. So I'm going to show you guys how to set that up. I'm also going to show you guys how to use the some modulation sources, like the, let me pull it up, like the XLFO, and setting up to be in sync with the keyboard. So if you ever want to use a keyboard, or how do you say, not the keyboard, if you want to pitch certain delays, you can go ahead and do so by setting them up to be at the right note. As you can see there, I'm changing them and trying to adjust them to the right note. So let's go ahead and get started with a new patch. So let's clear this one's out right there. And now let's just solo the drums. I do have some EQ, some compression, and some saturation going on because these are very raw drums, and I wanted to keep them pretty simple because I want to show you guys sounds that you guys are very familiar with. So just the typical 909. I think I've already overdriven it beforehand with processing before. And that's how it sounds like once you add those compression and saturation effects. Now let's add another timeless 3 right here. Be right here. Such a beautiful GUI. Let's now put this on clean. So you got basically a straight up delay, and we can play around with it. We can select this to be in stretch mode, so that way the drums don't change pitches if we so to desire. Okay, so now these parameters, we can start modulating all of them. So let's add a modulation source. And first off, let me show you guys a slider. And what I can do here is, let me make this large, is go ahead and link it to something like the mix. So now I can use this parameter to link the mix. And you can see here, I can set how much modulation I want to have from this source right here. Right? So now this right here limits the monomodulation. And you can clearly see up here how this second tap is quieter than the first one. Now if I make this go all the way to the top level, you'll see that now that second tap is louder than the first initial signal, input signal. So really simply, that's how we set up the modulations. We can also invert this. Right? And we can also, for example, set up an XLFO. And now let's remove this this modulation right there. Now I'm going to add this XLFO, and I'm going to tell it to be on 2 bars, and let's link it to the mix. And you can see it moving there independently. But now let's say I want to control this with the slider, right? I can grab the slider modulation and set it to modulate the mix parameter on the XLFO. So now I can tell it, hey, I want it to modulate completely, or I want it to modulate less using the slider over here. Let's hear that in context. Pretty cool. Now what I can do is let's add more steps to this XLFO, and we'll make it a step that's a bit less, how do you say, drastic. So now instead of going up and down, I can have a step between that goes halfway. I can also affect certain parameters within each step. For example, the value or the glide. Globally as well, I can do the same. Set this to linear. Yeah, I can control that. Make it a bit flatter. That's pretty cool now. So you can use this as an effects for either drums. Put it on your master bus as well. Use it as an effects, like if you're as if you were DJing. Let's clear these out and let's add some modulation now to the delay itself, so you can see what it sounds like. And in this case, let's add an X controller, and we're gonna use another XLFO. Let's use the XLFO, and again, we'll set it to be in 2 bars, but now this time we're going to affect the delay. We're going to affect the whole range of the delay. Let's take a listen. Now these changes are too drastic, so let's go ahead and bring the glide all the way down. And we'll mess around with the steps. So you can go to the value and click to set it to 0. Now I can double click here or on the value and set it to minus 0.75 if I want triplets or dotted. I believe dotted is 0.75. Triplets is 0.66 or minus 0.66. Right? Now we can set it to be a bit slower. Let's do every 8 bars. That's quite crazy. Let's set this to, let's not do random. That would be a little too much. Let's hit 4, and we'll hit 0.5. Now what I also want to do is I'll invert the phase of one channel. And now I get this really, really wide effect, and the drums are bouncing left to right. Now, the other thing I can do now is I can control that delay offset, let's say by the X parameter, and then the mix with the Y parameter over here. So now we can control how much of that delay we have with the Y parameter, and the X parameter now controls the amount of delay. Now, in this case, because the mix is to 100, what we have to do now is we have to set the mix itself to 50%. That way, when I bring this all the way up to 100% over here, we're at 100% over there. And when I bring this down to, oops, I think I deleted it. There we go. When I bring this down to, let's say, minus 100, Now we're at 0% mix. There you go. And now we have that fix. So keep that in mind. You're gonna have to set certain parameters at 50%. The same thing goes with the pitch. Let's try that out. Let's put the Y right there at 50%. And now we'll control the parameter right there. I mean, how cool is that? That is so cool. So with just those basic 1, 2, 3 parameters that we're controlling, we're getting all these crazy sounds. Now, when we start to add stuff like the drive, we're gonna get this really, really rich delay sound. So then we're gonna want to make the mix a bit shorter or a bit less pronounced. So let's bring it down, or else things will get too loud. And let's put it on the X parameter. That's so hectic. Now let's switch the ping pong to left and right. We can also control the amount of cross feedback right here. Let's turn it on first though. If we turn off the ping pong effect. So that's really cool. Now we've pitched the drums. Let's go ahead and close this down and we'll try this out on the little pluck that we had in the drop. Okay, so in this second half of the video, I'm going to show you how I changed this pad sound that I had created from the pluck sound. So we have a very standard sequence. And then I added Timeless 3, and now we have this really, really crazy modulation going on. And now, as you can hear, because when I press the keyboard, there's a delay. What I've done is a few little tricks here. So first of all, what I did was I set the mix to 100%, so we don't get that first tap. So what happens now is that when you're playing or setting down this pattern of MIDI on your DAW, what you want to do is put it one beat ahead of the rest of the instruments that you have, so that now it's in sync, right? Now, depending on what your delay offset is going to be how quick you're gonna, or how far apart you need to set that ahead of, right? So if I have it to set to half a note, it's gonna take that long. Let me show you with the actual MIDI playing in the background. If I set it to quarter note, it's gonna be half that time, right? However, if you don't want to do that, if you do want to include the original tap, you can do so. But now you have to remember that that sequence is going to start off with that note that you, the original note that you played. So in my case, that doesn't work. So I need to set that to 100%. So then I can take care of the sequence with the XLFO. Now, similar to what we did with the drums, I grab the XLFO and I send it to be modulating the pitch, shift, and in this case also the frequency. As you can see over there, it's moving along with the note right here. See that? So you can see it moving right here, down and up, and changing position over time. So let me click on that guy. See that? Now I can change the speed at which these changes are happening here. I think this is the appropriate speed, so let's keep it that way. Now, there's an LFO over here, and that is modulating the filter frequency right there. The second one, the one that's moving quite a bit, and also the diffusion. Let's take off the diffusion for a second. So now we have this sound almost as if we created ambience with a note. So that's cool. And then on the next XLFO, we have modulation again on the filter 1 frequency. Then we have filter 3 gain, which is this filter right here. See that little peak is moving up and down over time. So not only are we hitting the notes with the XLFO for certain frequencies, with this third XLFO, now we're changing if we're boosting or reducing that frequency. And then I have one randomizing XLFO that's randomizing the XLFO over here just a tiny bit. It's not even likely that we hear it. You'd have to play this back over and over again several times. Let me actually boost this a bit. Of course, you can make it sync as well if you like, but in this case, I'm just doing a little bit of modulation so that every, let's say, 20 or something bars, even probably more than that, we get a little change, but that's almost irrelevant. Let's keep it down low right now because we want to make this sound musical. Now, the next thing I'm using is the XLFO 5, and I'm basically turning this into a ADSR envelope with the really punchy attack and downward slope. I also have this envelope generator over here that's just modulating the filter to frequency and the filter to, I believe we can either use the sidechain input, MIDI, or the normal input. So that's cool. Now I've also added an XY pad here, and now what I can do is control certain parameters, let's say corresponding to the filters or the diffusion. Let's also add some to the XLFO over here. Let's do frequency again. All right, let's play around with it. I mean, not bad at all for something that was sounding like this beforehand. Do this. That is quite cool. Very impressive as well. There's also some other modulation types here. There's a MIDI source, so you can add a model wheel, pitch bend, velocity, aftertouch, keyboard tracking, and controller information. And you can specify the controller number here and say that you want to have linear, exponential, logarithmic, square. I forget which one this is, and sine. There's also the envelope follower. So I think this one might have been more appropriate in this case, I think, than the one I was using. Let's check it out. Let's see. Yeah, it makes a difference. Now, there's also the sorting slots button. So if these were all over the place, we can sort them out if we like. So make sure you guys like the video if you learned something new today. Also, leave any comments, questions down below regarding FabFilter Timeless 3, so you can answer them in future videos. Also, subscribe so you don't miss out any of our upcoming videos. I'm Kevin Ochoa with Music Marketing TV. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be covering some other tricks that we can do with the drive, lo-fi, diffusion, dynamics, and pitching as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that video. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.